Jedi Battle Scars by Sam Maggs has been out in the public for a few days now, and I need to talk about this book. So I thought it was time I would start making little videos talking about things that I really enjoyed, and this video is going to be all about our favorite girl, Nightsister Merrin, because we learn so much about her, and I want to go over a few things. So that being said, if you want to avoid spoilers, this is not the video for you. Turn it off now and come back once you finish the book. Or if you don't care about spoilers and just kind of want to hear about what happens in the book, this is the video for you. But this is your spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. But I really want to talk about Nightsister Merrin. So let's talk about her. So we learn a lot about Merrin in this book. We don't really learn that much about her in the initial game. Obviously, you have a lot of little conversations that happen on the Mantis, and obviously all the stuff that happened on Dathomir, and you learn about her through Force Echoes and everything. But Merrin's character, other than the bits and bobs that we know about her, was pretty open field for us to learn about her. So there were a few different things I wanted to touch on in this video, and obviously we can chat more about other things in the comments, but I wanted to start with her motivations. Merrin starts off this book still very, very angry about her murdered sisters, and this does keep throughout the book, but it changes a little bit. And it's like we saw on Dathomir in Jedi Fallen Order. She wants revenge for her sisters. That's why she's with Cal. Obviously, the people that killed her sisters, like Grievous, are already dead at this point, but she wants to hit the Empire, which she equates with the people that killed her sisters, to feel the pain that she feels, basically. And this is a common theme throughout the book. This also is with the bounty hunter guilds and stuff like that. She views them as the people that killed her sisters. She needs to avenge them. Throughout the book, this kind of changes, though. It goes from just anger about her fallen sisters to instead swapping to, the reason I'm fighting isn't just to kill people to avenge my sisters, or because I'm angry about the murder of my sisters, but it's also to protect this new family that I love, which I think was always there, but she comes to this realization throughout the book as she's fighting. There's a whole scene at the end where she's fighting the fifth brother, and she has this whole dialogue with herself about how it's not just avenging her sisters, but protecting Cal Kestis, protecting Marin Greece, protecting these people she loves from dying in maybe the same way that she feels like she couldn't protect those that she loved on Dathomir from dying. And so I think it's really interesting to see that swap from her just being her own revenge for her sisters, to being, no, I'm doing this because of the new people I love, the new family I have, the new people I want to protect and be with and fight to help. And I think that's really interesting, and I'm really excited to see where they take that in the game. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was Merrin and her sexuality and her relationships. So first, Merrin is now canonically pansexual, which is something that I have been headcanoning and pushing for many, many years, because there was always the fight between, oh, well, does she like Cal? Or she has this voice line on the Mantis where she talks about this Nightsister named Ileana that she was really close to, and so lots of people are like, well, is she a lesbian? And I'm like, no, I think Merrin just doesn't care. I think Merrin is just down for whoever she finds attractive, and so it's been really cool that that's now become canon. Talking about Ileana and this Nightsister that she vaguely mentions if you get the line in Jedi Fallen Order, she was actually mentioned in this book multiple times. Merrin thinks back and has flashbacks to Ileana and this Nightsister that she had this strong relationship with, and it actually isn't made canon that the necklace that Nightsister Merrin wears, the gold necklace with the teeth, she refers to them as, is from Ileana, which I think is really cool. I actually made a video years ago that was Merrin, that the necklace wasn't necessarily gifted to her by Ileana, which is what happens here in this book and is now canon, but was Ileana's, and when Ileana died, Merrin took it. And so it's kind of cool to have those things that I had like dreamt up in my brain now be kind of canon, like different but canon. So that's a really cool look at like her past, and that she did have a more romantic relationship with this Nightsister Ileana, and it wasn't just a friendship. So that's all canon now. as far as like the spicy stuff that happens to Merrin in this book, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but if you have already read the book, you know, and if you haven't read the book yet, if you want to know, you can read the book. But throughout the entire book, there is this like vibe that Cal Kestis does like Merrin. So talking about her relationship and sexuality, we can also talk about Cal and how cute he is and clueless he is, which he was raised as a Jedi. He was told not to form attachments, and that's something else I want to talk about in a later video probably, is they kind of talk about the attachment thing. And so he's very socially stunted in that way. And so throughout this book, as Merrin's having this relationship with Fret, the deserter, he is slowly realizing that he's super jealous, but like he doesn't know how to mentally understand those things. So as the book goes on, this kind of romantic understanding or relationship understanding grows between Merrin and Cal. And by the end of the book, there is a spark there. I'm not going to assume that there's going to be a relationship between Merrin and Cal in the game, but it was very much set up that there 100% could be. It was set up. They were so cute together. Cal freaking cares about Merrin so much, and Merrin cares about Cal so much, that they have such a cool bond and a cool connection that was so explained in this book. And by the end of the book, I have a friend that was talking about how she wasn't really a Marin Cal shipper until she read this book, and now she's fully ready for Merrin and Cal to be a thing in Jedi Survivor. So we'll see where they take it. But just the fact that Cal's so naive about Merrin being so about how he feels about Merrin. I'm trying to figure out my words. About how he feels about Merrin. And then Merrin, Fret at one moment's like, yeah, I know you and Cal have something going on. And Merrin's like, we don't have anything going on. Cal doesn't think of me that way. And Fret's like, Cal thinks of you that way. And Merrin's like, oh. And so by the end of the book, there is this, guise of, maybe there's something more here. So now the part that I'm really freaking excited about, Merrin Nightsister Magick. Nightsister Magick, just canon Nightsister Magick information. I love it. We don't have very much of it, and so it's really cool to have more of it, and especially having more of it from inside the Nightsister's brain and how she uses it. So if you haven't read the book yet, at the very beginning of the book, Merrin can't use Nightsister Magick very much. She still has the capability, but it's getting a lot harder for her. She's lost her fire, she's lost her spark, and through Fret, the deserter that we meet on the first planet, she finds a spark and her magic blossoms again. She finds that hype and flame, and so that's just freaking awesome. And the way she explains how Nightsister Magick feels, and it's like burning but not burning, it's just so cool. But this allows her to do the magical feats and cool magic like we see her do in Jedi Fallen Order. And so we get to see some cool new magical techniques, because the only fighting magic we see Merrin use in Jedi Fallen Order is she pumps up Night Brothers, she raises the Nightsisters from the dead, and we also see her throw globs of magic at Malicos. And that's basically all we see. So it's really cool to see in this book she uses techniques such as choking out stormtroopers under their helmet using magic, which is creepy and kind of dark and really dark. And she finds such a satisfying joy from this, which I think is very much in character from her. We also see her use the Reanimation Spell without the orb. So in all of Jedi Fallen Order, for her to do any super powerful spells, she needs her orb, which I still don't think we have confirmation on exactly what her orb was, but she never uses it in this book. It just, she mentions it, but it's never actually, we don't see it in the book. And so there's a scene where they're fighting a bunch of purge troopers after they'd already fought a bunch of other guys, and she reanimates all the people that they just killed, and people that all the people that are dead, or a lot of the people that are dead in the room. and she reanimates them and they attack. And it's insane. Like, this really just reinforces something that has been a question on, at least on my mind for a while, is Nightsister Merrin. And I think I mentioned this in my Get to Know Nightsister Merrin video, that if you haven't watched that, feel free to. That's all the information we've known up to this point. Well, up to before Battle Scars came out. And like, my biggest question was, Nightsister Merrin, as far as canon goes, as far as we've seen so far, is one of the most powerful Nightsisters we have ever seen. She just has such a huge control over magic, and it's kind of mentioned in this book that she's always kind of been skilled with magic. It's always kind of come, like, to her, and she's always just kind of been skilled at it. And so seeing her use the reanimation skill just like in battle was really freaking cool, without the help of the orb, without whatever else. And so I think that's really set a cool precedent, which I'll talk about in a second. But she also uses her magic to heal. So we really only see her choke people out, use her magic to reanimate people, and just like general fighting magic like we see her do when you fight Malicos, and she's just kind of like chucking magic around. You see a little bit of that too. But we also see her use her magic to heal. We know Iker has healing powers. Obviously, we saw that with Asajj Ventress. We saw that with Maul, who we saw magic used to heal them. So the fact that Merrin also has that power is really cool. Obviously, it tuckers her out in the book, and so it's not something she could obviously do all the time. But the fact that she has that capability is really cool. But with all of that stuff, it really set it up for Merrin to be a viable character companion in Jedi Survivor. And so reading this book, a lot of people were wondering if it was going to answer the question of like, oh, why haven't we seen Merrin in Jedi Survivor yet? And all it did was, why haven't we? Why haven't we? And I do wonder if it's because of this book. And obviously, because there are a few Merrin's freaking dead kind of jump scares. And so I do wonder if it's because they wanted to wait for this book to come out to kind of give you that full, like, oh, is Merrin actually dead? Did they just kill her off? Is that why she's not in the trailers? But then, obviously, she's not dead by the end. But they really did set it up, the way they explained her moving mechanics, the way they talk about the magic she can use. Like, there's the last scene, she reanimates that one guy, and they fight 2 and 2. And so they really set it up that Merrin could be a companion character with you. You could kill a stormtrooper, and she could reanimate that stormtrooper to fight with you alongside you. And they set that up. And so if she's not a companion character in the game, if you don't get to fight alongside her, I'm gonna be really upset, because I want to fight alongside our Nightsister and have her reanimate the stormtrooper that I just murdered, or she just murdered, so it can fight alongside us for like a minute or two or whatever the game mechanics are gonna be. But she just better be in the freaking game, man. She just better be in the freaking game. So here are just some fun facts that didn't really fit into the other things I wanted to talk about, but I want to talk about because I think they're really cool. So the first one is that Nightsister Merrin blushes green. She blushes green because she has Iker in her veins, which means her blood's green because Iker runs through their blood, and that's how that all works. And so she blushes green, and that's amazing, and I've never considered it or thought about it before. And I literally messaged Sam Max. After I finished the book, I messaged her, and I was like, I just need you to know, the fact that Merrin blushes green gives me great joy, and it's something I never considered, but I absolutely adore it. So I just had to mention that here. Merrin blushes green. Next, I talked about it a little bit. Merrin just kills without abandon, doesn't really care, and I love that. I think it fits her character really well. She doesn't really give a crap, especially about imps belonging to either the Empire or bounty hunter groups, because she's all on angry, ready for revenge. And the last fun fact that I want to talk about is Merrin can see in the dark. There's a whole scene with Sarah and Merrin and doing a cute little stakeout, which is one of my favorite scenes in the book. I love the cute kind of like big sister, motherly relationship between Merrin and Sarah that was developed in this book, and it's one of my favorite things. But while they're doing this stakeout, Merrin talks about how she can see in the dark because Dothamir is dark, and she lived a lot of her life in like caves, and so her eyes are built to see in the dark. So, fun fact, Nightsister Merrin can see in the dark. So finally, where do I think Nightsister Merrin is in Jedi Survivor? Honestly, it's like I talked about before. I don't really see her being anywhere else than right next to your side on the mantis with Cal. Like, obviously, this is 2-3 years before Jedi Survivor happens, that Jedi Battle Scars happens, and so it's possible that Merrin's found something else to do. But the book really sets it up that, because the book is all about kind of setting up the fact that the Mantis crew wants different things. Like, Grease is kind of done. He wants to retire. It's not worth the risk to him. Sarah wants to build up a Jedi archive, a Jedi library for future Jedi so that all that stuff isn't just lost to the wind. And Cal wants to keep fighting the Empire and hitting the Empire where it hurts. And so it makes sense that in 2-3 years that we'd see Sarah in her library like we see her in the trailer, and we'd see Grease becoming some sort of mechanic or owner of a restaurant in some little town called Kobo, you know? And so all of that makes sense to me. But the way that Merrin's interests and what she wants align with Cal's. They both want to hit the Empire where it hurts. They both want to avenge their fallen brethren, you know? And so other than if she's off doing some other mission in the same vein for the same goal, I would not be surprised if we logged into the game and Merrin was there with us. You know, like, they set it up so much in this book that, oh, the Mantis crew has different ideas, except for Cal and Merrin. They have a very I go where you go kind of mentality, especially at the very end of the book, because Merrin has a choice to go away with Fret, and I can't remember the lizard lady's name off the top of my head right now, and she chooses to stay with Cal and the Mantis because that's her family and that's where she wants to be. And so I would be very surprised if she wasn't just with you at the beginning of the game, or she's on a different mission but she's still part of your crew, you know. And so I just have to imagine the reason they're not showing her is either they wanted you to think she died in this book and get that suspense, and so they didn't want to ruin that, or she has such a big part to play and they wanted people to be surprised and excited about it, you know, when you start playing the game and you're with Merrin, that they would be like, surprise, you know. So that's all I can think, is that she has to be there. They set it up so perfectly that she's gonna be there. Like, the fact that Grease isn't in the trailers makes sense because he would literally have 3 arms and probably a robotic arm at this point, and everyone would be like, what the heck happened to Grease's arm? And so it makes sense that they couldn't have Grease in the thing, because it would be spoilers for the book that he would lose his arm. And so I am wondering if in the next few weeks we're going to get confirmation for Merrin and Grease because the book has been out. And obviously I don't know if it's because of the book that they're keeping the secret, or they just have big things planned for both of these characters that they want to keep hidden, but I can't imagine Merrin being anywhere else than with Cal. And obviously, I'm not saying in a relationship with Cal. I don't actually have a strong opinion whether, like, it doesn't matter to me whether they would be romantically involved or not, you know? Like, I would love to see a romance between them, but they also just have such a cute, loving friendship as well that I wouldn't mind if in the next game they were just really, really close, kind of sibling type friends, or if they were in a relationship. It doesn't matter to me either way. But that's just my mutterings about it, is that I don't know where Merrin would be other than by Cal's side, because they just care about each other so deeply. They both trust each other so freaking much, and they just want to fight alongside each other. And I think I want to start into the game and have Merrin on the Mantis with us already, and just have her there helping us and being there. I don't know how to word this, but I'm just saying I have no idea where else she'd be. And so after reading this book, she's just got to be there. She's got to be there. We got to log in, and she's just gonna be on the comms, or she's gonna be sitting in her room on the Mantis. And that's gonna be how it is. Obviously, I don't know if that's how it is, but that's my dreams. But that's where I think Nightsister Merrin is. There's just nowhere else she could be, you know? Wherever you go, I go. There's just general thoughts and ramblings about Nightsister Merrin from Jedi Battle Scars. But if you have more questions or things that you want to talk about in the comments, let me know. I'm more than happy to make more rambly videos about different things that happen in this book. I'm certain I will. But thank you guys for freaking watching. If you want to get more information about when I post new things like Jedi Survivor news or more ramblings about Jedi Battle Scars, feel free to subscribe down below. But thank you guys for watching. May the freaking Force be with you. Goodbye.